Painting is just, for me, everything. I think if you could take a group of people and you stick them in a room and you give them all a paintbrush and paint, I think they revert back to childhood immediately. I came from a coal mining town called Michelle Loughery, and I was actually named after the town. When you live in a coal mining town, there's disasters and many things that happen. And I learned very early that people of all nationalities come together to rebuild towns. My parents were born in Canada. They were both immigrant children of their families that came to Canada for a new way. I have a Ukrainian background on one side, and my father was Scottish and Czech. One of my side of my family were in internment camps, which we didn't know of. So there was a lot of generational trauma. So that was one of the biggest, hardest things to realize, is that many people in Canada live generational trauma. I grew up as an artist. I think culturally, in my grandparents' home, there was always somebody playing the violin or a mandolin or cooking or singing. I don't think that there was any other way to be other than be creative. The little town of Michelle Loughery was under a forced relocation in the 60s. All of these immigrant people lost their homes. They did not get money for their houses. It was terrible. And of course, I'm about 20 at the time, say to my grandmother, "Why didn't you guys stop them? Why didn't you, And my grandmother said, "Well, what are you doing about telling our stories?" When I figured out that our town had been relocated and there was no way to tell those stories, the pivotal thing for me was creating a model of something on a wall that everybody came together and actually worked together. That's what we need. We need to tell the stories of everybody. Everybody has a story that'll break your heart. How do you tell that story? One wall, a whole bunch of paint, tells everybody's story. My first mural in Vernon would have been in 1999. Murals were starting to be kind of the thing, and I was doing murals, and I just happened to meet this woman that wanted a thematic mural project. My skills program, which actually was hiring at-risk youth to learn trades, is what really funded all the projects, all of them. The most important thing in all of it is the youth. Every one of those faces, and unfortunately some of them aren't here anymore. Some have succumbed to street drugs issues, and lots of them have been really, really successful. And when you look at all, there's been some concerns that the murals are through a lens of racism. And I can see that lens and I can look through that lens. But when you are a trailblazer, when you couldn't get paint or art on the wall, at that time you had to work within the system. If you look at the Indian motorcycle mural, which has been kind of saying, well, that is now not a lens, yet a First Nations person helped me paint that. I think, look at the good the project did. And when you really understand, there wasn't a racist thing that happened. Other than, I can say, we painted the multicultural mural. There's all nationalities of young people and are all on this wall painting fabrics, trying to paint all the first people. And we got paintballed and death threats at the back of the head because we were painting that multicultural mural. We had to break barriers and glass ceilings to get there. So do you repaint those murals? Do you change them? I don't think so. I think we have to look at ourselves and continually remind ourselves to do better. The conversations of the obstacles were really the art that happened. What keeps me going is when you see people that have a light that is unseen. You get to meet people that nobody gets to meet because the space between the wall and the viewer is this magic land. And when people go in there, it's like they shed all of their labels and you get to meet people at their core. You see all the time they're going, how do we help the homeless? How do we help crime? How do we help this? Create art together, work together. One of the things that is lacking, that really people don't understand, is the power of the arts socially and economically to change this world. This guy was named Roger. He was a senior. It wasn't always at-risk youth, it was at-risk seniors as well who couldn't find work, or street women who didn't want to be on the street anymore. So we would get them clothes and get them dental work and say, hey, this person needs to be hired, and we never told them where we found them.